There are these moments in life when we go from being one version of ourselves to a completely different version in a matter of sometimes even 24 hours. Oftentimes, it's a traumatic event, or it could be a massive shift in your life in a positive way. It could even be something like a kundalini awakening or just a really earth-shaking spiritual awakening that changes your view. And it often comes out of absolutely nowhere. And this happened to you a couple of days ago. How do I know this? Because we share a collective consciousness. So I can feel as the collective conscious goes through these shifts, so I know that you can too. So a recent shift that happened in the collective conscious is based on something that we will get into shortly. But first, I just want to say it's okay to not know. I'm getting a feeling that you might be trying to make everything you're experiencing make sense. And I just want to let you know, it's never going to make sense. Life actually operates on a lot of chaos and illogicalness. And this is just the dark feminine manifest through reality. It's the unknown. It's the mystery. And it's actually part of what makes life so amazing. So let the mystery be a mystery. I always like to say the mystery is a little bit spicy. It creates that little zest that makes life fun, interesting, and keeps us on our toes. And if we knew everything, then we probably would be a little bored, or we would just be in this exalted state of consciousness in between being and non-being for all of eternity. I don't know. But we're here and we're in the mystery. We don't know everything. It's kind of like trying to catch lightning in a bottle. You don't really want lightning to be in a bottle. You want the lightning to be roaring through the ecosystem. And when you're trying to capture it, you're missing the point a little bit. So if you just let the mystery be the mystery, let the lightning and thunder happen and just listen. Don't try to create a story of why it's happening or how long it's going to take or what's going on exactly, but just be there to experience it. So what is the collective consciousness going through right now? We're going through a removal of archetypes. So you can imagine that archetypes are almost like these characters that you can play, but these characters are just masks. These characters are not real souls. They're not real beings. They're just roles that people step into that allow them to kind of step out of themselves and into this character. But what's happening now is we're having this removal of many of the characters that you could play with, possibly. And what's happening is a lot of people are very adjusted to playing with certain characters, certain archetypal energies in their personality. And when these archetypal energies get removed from the collective consciousness and get flattened out and absolved and purified, then these people have no more access to that. And they might have actually been using these archetypes to do good for themselves and maybe even for others. But these archetypes themselves are corrupted patterns of consciousness that separate us from ourself and separate us from the divine. So a lot of people that were more adjusted to wearing these kind of magical masks that maybe had spiritual ideas attached to them, or maybe just had personality quirks and humor and other aspects that were in these archetypes, but were not necessarily true to you as an actual being. So for these people, they're letting go of a lot of aspects of their personality that maybe even they held very dear. And they might even be trying to fake their old personality, and it's just not working anymore. Like it feels wrong in some way, and it gets really upsetting. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you move somewhere and you didn't want to move there, you know, and you just want to go back to how it was, but you can't. You don't have control over that. But in this truth, you're moving to a much better place. You're shifting to a reality that's much closer to self, much closer to source, much closer to the divine, much closer to what's really true in existence. And you're leaving the storytelling fantasy illusion of the lower ego. You're going into the higher level of the soul. And what we're learning now is that we don't really need these old archetypes in order to operate. We don't really need these kind of like masks and edges to our personality that keep people at a distance. We can learn how to deal with the vulnerabilities of life as it comes, and we can kind of hurt along with life as we feel the pain without necessarily being identified with it or thinking that it means we're depressed or that we need help or that something's wrong. We can just allow the natural ups and downs of life and then learn to find a beautiful, harmonious flow within all of that. Because life does hurt sometimes, you know? There's things that happen that you don't want to happen, and it gets really upsetting sometimes. And it's important to let life feel that way when it needs to feel that way, even if you're so-called awakened, you know? I don't think enlightenment means feeling bliss all the time. I think it means being completely at peace with what is. And, you know, I'm not close to that point, I don't think. But I definitely have a level of reality where I lean towards that. I lean towards being at peace with what is when it does come up. And you can too, if you don't already. You know, it's just a matter of training your focus back to what is real within you. And then it's kind of like learning a new language, or even like learning a language that you knew as a kid, but you forgot. You have to learn different ways of being in a very small way. Like you have to learn a different way to walk through your house, because you may walk through your house in a very egotistical state where you're thinking about everything instead of being in the body. You may even have to restructure how you speak, because your voice is tied in with these energies that you're no longer attuned to. And it's not a bad thing. It's just like becoming a smaller fish in a bigger pond. You have to learn how to adapt. You have to learn how to flow while still being sensitive and true to yourself, but also not being a pushover and not letting life kind of kick you down, because you have the ability to stand up for yourself, even if you don't have the ability to control the outcome of things and the external. And don't forget to have fun. A lot of times in my spiritual awakening, I spent years just obsessively trying to purify my shadow and trying to get deeper into alignment with my higher self and trying to understand the mysteries of the universe. And to be honest, I really missed out on a lot of fun. I missed out on a lot of laughter. For a while, like I swear, I didn't even laugh. I didn't think things were funny. I was so serious about transmuting, and I really struggled to even be in a normal, enjoyable state of consciousness. Don't forget that that's a huge aspect of life. That is an aspect of the divine life as well. It's joy, it's enjoyment, it's loving what is. Spiritual awakening is not all about purifying yourself. It's also about accessing the joys that life has to offer. And it's about fully embodying these higher characteristics in a beautiful and harmonious way that feels absolutely amazing and connects you even deeper to your ancestors, to your parents, to your friends, to your community, to human beings. You know, spiritual awakening should not be taking us more into outer space only. It can take us there, but it should really take us deeper into the human experience. It should take us deeper into what it means to be a son or a daughter, deeper into what it means to be a friend, deeper into what it means to be someone's partner, deeper into what it means to be a member of a community. Awakening is a lot more than just shadow work and letting go of dark energy and tuning into divine consciousness. It's about what you do with that. It's about where that energy flows into your life. Is it just only flowing into your meditative practice, which isn't that bad? It's not accessing as much impact as it could. If it was embodied into your actions and into your interactions, then you would be really magnifying that frequency. Thanks so much for watching. I'm wishing you so many blessings on your journey, and I'll see you next time.